Fantasy football is dilemma, and dilemma is fantasy football. I believe the Dalai Lama originally said that. Nevertheless, fantasy football players, we're here to help you. That's why we have the Fantasy G.O.A.T, whether to start Caleb or Danny Dimes, what to do with Brian Thomas Jr., and is it finally Dalton Kincaid's year? The panel and I are breaking it all down. Let's do this thing. The Fantasy G.O.A.T starts right now.
Who starts? Who sits? And how to become the greatest of all time. This is the Fantasy G.O.A.T, sponsored by La Bonita Supermarkets.
Hello and welcome. This is the Fantasy G.O.A.T. I'm your host, Mike Davis. Let's meet our tremendous panel from Chicago. Dr. Nithin Natwa at Fantasy Docs on social media. Sean Cruzen with Sports Illustrated and Full-Time Fantasy. And we also have fantasy football aficionado and commissioner of the Dr. Feinberg Invitational and the Manning Man Crush League, Mr. Jason Feinberg. Thanks so much for being here, guys. The Dalai Lama truly is big into fantasy football, but let's not talk religion. Let's kick things off, though, with this, okay? The former number one overall pick, Caleb Williams, showed out last week against Dallas, dropping basically 30 fantasy points after throwing for 298 yards, tossing 4 touchdowns. So after 3 weeks, get this, Caleb Williams is ranked third in fantasy for quarterbacks, while the resurrected Danny Dimes is right behind him at number 4. So, Jason, moving forward, do you believe more in Caleb Williams or Daniel Jones?
I've always really had hope with Daniel Jones, so I'm going with Danny Dimes or Indiana Jones, as they call him there. I also do like that I feel like he runs a little bit more too. So when they both get in trouble, I feel like Daniel Jones has a little more path towards fantasy football gold. So I'm going with him. However, I do think this week could be a little bit of a wake-up call. I think he might come down to earth a little bit. But overall, I think I trust him more.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are curious whether Indianapolis, if they're legit, if they're a fluke. It's hard to really tell. But Dr. Natwa, how does it stand for you? Do you have any Danny Dimes in your leagues? And would you rather have Caleb or Danny Jones?
Yeah, I don't have Danny Dimes. I do have Caleb, but I'm not starting him yet. I do have a lot of high hopes for him. I think I talked about before. He's got Ben Johnson with him, and Ben Johnson does really well with quarterbacks. And Caleb is just in his second season, so Danny's had a couple seasons to prove it, and he's in a new atmosphere right now, and I think he's doing great. But in terms of potential upside, I think it's Caleb.
Yeah, a lot of this is really a conversation of floor and ceiling. Maybe Danny Dimes has a higher floor where Caleb might, under Ben Johnson in Chicago, have a higher ceiling. Sean Cruzen, I'm a little just taken aback right now because Dr. Nithin Natwa's hair just looks so on point today, Doctor.
Look at that.
You look gorgeous, frankly.
I got a haircut yesterday.
Oh, okay, that's what it is. Good stuff there. Sean, let's talk about this. Do you have Caleb in any of your leagues? Are we finally starting to see some number one overall pick goods from Caleb Williams?
Yeah, Mike, this one's an easy for me. I'm not with Jason on this one. I am leaning towards Caleb Williams moving forward in 2025. Williams is ascending to a top quarterback, top 10 for me.
Really?
Yeah, I believe that. Jones, of course, has looked different this year. He's had early efficiency, but I expect him to regress to his norm. Caleb Williams, he's got the new head coach with Ben Johnson. They're running that RPO, Detroit-style offense. They've had volume and efficiency in the top 10 so far in 2025. Rome Odunze has ascended to a true W receiver 1. He's also got DJ Moore, who's solid. He's also making better decisions in cover 3. He only has 1 interception this year. So I'm all in on Caleb Williams over Daniel Jones moving forward, and I'm actually starting him. I have 37 teams, so I am starting Caleb Williams this week. Not to say that I'm not starting Danny where I have to, but Caleb for me is the choice of those two moving forward. I have Caleb finishing as a top quarterback, top 10. I have him finishing at number 8 overall, where I have Danny Dimes settling in down at quarterback 15 on the year.
Okay, I just think I got an ulcer flare-up when you said the number 37. I mean, that's a lot of leagues there,
Yeah.
Sean. A lot of stress that you got to be having induced with all those leagues. Yeah, it's interesting stuff. We'll see what happens. I think the big thing on a lot of people's minds is, of course, Caleb. He did that against perhaps the worst defense in the league versus Dallas. So who knows if this is the true Caleb Williams. He also wasn't sacked at all. That's become a frequent thing for him behind that line in Chicago. So we'll see if he can really keep this up when the conditions perhaps aren't perfect. But guys, coming up next, a critical decision when it comes to running backs. Lots of guys went down. Now their backups are leading the charge. We're talking Jordan Mason, Cam Skattebo, even Trey Benson. The panel has their picks after these words.
You're watching the Fantasy Go, sponsored by La Bonita Supermarkets.
It's a part of life and fantasy football. An injury happens, you pick yourself up, and you find a way, and you just have to do that. Fantasy football champions do that consistently. They find a way. So managers who own running backs, Aaron Jones, Tyrone Tracy, or James Conner, they're definitely in a tough spot unless they handcuffed with Jordan Mason, Cam Skattebo, or Trey Benson. So Sean, which of these guys do you want on your team moving forward?
Well, I actually have all three of them with as many teams that I have. But for me, Trey Benson has the clearest runway for success. He's taken over for James Conner as the true number one. We did see some of the backups come into the game last night, but for me, it's easily Trey Benson. I have him projecting at about 1,100 yards, 300 receiving yards, and 10 touchdowns. We saw him catching the ball out of the backfield. I believe he had 5 receptions last night. The highest floor would be Jordan Mason. I think we'll see more consistency out of Jordan Mason. But again, Aaron Jones is going to come back and split that backfield. The same with Skattebo. As soon as Tyrone Tracy is healthy, he'll be splitting that backfield again. So for me, if we're looking for the rest of the season, I'm all in on Trey Benson.
Yeah, it's fascinating because there was so much talk all season long, pre-draft, about all the rookie running backs, and it seems like, Jason, Cam Skattebo might be the guy. I mean, first of all, he's just fun and exciting to watch, and he's got a great name, he's got a great number. It's all good stuff with him. The crazy thing, though, is he really might be positioned to be the best rookie running back out of all the guys, from Hampton to Genty to Harvey. Is that how you feel? Are you all in on Skattebo?
Yeah, I wish I had him. I actually did have him really early on in the league, and of course I did what some people do, and I dropped him.
Right.
But, I also, I'm not cool about drafting anybody that went to the rival college of my own college. I don't have to say it, but I do think that what he's got going for him is just pure toughness. He's just like a workhorse.
Yeah.
I'd rather have Jordan Mason, but the problem, though, and I don't know how you're phrasing the question, is it based on, are we talking that?
Like, let's just say the waiver wire, all these guys were available on the waiver wire, and you can get any of them, and you were first on waivers. Who would you put in for first?
Trey Benson was available in one of my leagues. I didn't pull the trigger. The guy that did basically used all his fab money on Trey Benson. I didn't pull the trigger on him. I still think Jordan Mason, but if with Aaron Jones, the thing is Trey Benson is the man. He's the man for the rest of the season, and probably Skattebo too, but I don't think Jordan Mason is. But if it came down to just pure, for the rest of the season, and they all had the number one carries, I would go with Jordan Mason. Yeah, I like the offensive line too for Minnesota.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good offense to be a part of. Dr. Natwa, tell me if you think you're aligned with my train of thought here, because I'd like to be a physician like you as well and have that intellect. But to me, I'm reading the sidelines with Daboll and New York and Neighbors, and the vibes are bad. I mean, these are bad vibes, So then you get a guy who's hungry, like Skattebo, who's got positive energy. He's a rookie. He's going up to guys trying to get them amped up on the sideline. So to me, when the vibes are bad, you're going to a rookie quarterback now. You're benching a guy who won a Super Bowl. To me, it's like Skattebo is the guy who, he's got the intangibles. You just want this guy on the field. I think he's going to have a lot of opportunity. Out of these three, that's the guy that I love. Are you aligned in my train of thought?
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'll just go with it just because I feel like you phrased the case so badly and so well.
See, a doctor, a physician. See, mom and dad, a doctor's. He's aligned in my train of thought. Continue.
Continue.
I do like that just because we have the unknown factor of Jack Jarrett coming in. So I think he's going to inject the offense with some new excitement. And like you said, Skattebo's got a lot of passion. And that situation with Aaron Jones, he's able to play, and he's not in a season-ending injury. He's not even going to be out for a long period of time past that IR period, in my opinion. And then Benson, yeah, they're doing okay, but once again, there's kind of a disjointed connection in that offense. So I don't really see a lot of stuff changing there. So I like the upside that Skattebo presents just with the unknown factors. Also, Tracy's got that dislocation, so that might put him at risk for more fumbles, even when he comes back. So if that happens a couple times, then, fumbling in the NFL is a no-no. Oh.
We have a few seconds here left, Doc, before we got to go to the break. I'm curious, as a doctor, what do you think about the Tracy or the Jones injury? Who do you have less faith in?
I would say Tracy with that shoulder dislocation, just because of what I talked about before, it's going to affect his ball security, in my opinion. And hamstrings, once you get the recovery back, I mean, yeah, he's at an increased risk for aggravation, but it's just rare that we see a hamstring get re-aggravated.
Okay, all right. And everybody at home is at an increased risk for aggravation as well if you don't stick around with us. Because if you're like me, you're calling yourself names, maybe even using expletives while you're watching these football games because you drafted Brian Thomas Jr. It's not too good of a situation. Doesn't look pretty. Is it too early to call him a bust? Coming up, we'll hear what the panel has to say about that. All right, welcome back to the Fantasy GOAT. This week, our Commissioner's Choice of the Week award goes to Marvin Harrison Jr., the wide receiver from Arizona, rebounding from a disappointing couple weeks on Thursday Night Football with 6 catches, 66 yards, and a touchdown. And now for the Commissioner's Choice of the Week from La Bonita, let's go shopping. This season on the Fantasy Go, we're partnering with La Bonita Supermarkets. I'm here at the location in Green Valley with my good buddy, Armando. Armando, I'm so excited to talk to you. Each and every week, fantasy football, it's about making the right choices, the right selections, and you guys have a lot of good selections. This week, our Commissioner's Choice from La Bonita, what is it going to be?
So this week for the Commissioner's Choice, we have our La Bonita store-made tortilla chips on sale for $2.99. And the store-made guacamole, we make it every day in every store for $6.99 a pound for this week for the commissioners.
That's a sleeper special, chips and guac, that's the best thing. Now listen, this is only my second time at La Bonita. As you can see, I'm very excited. You guys have already changed my life. What is the thing that separates you from every other supermarket?
I think when you walk into any La Bonita, you'll see a lot of departments. It's like a food hall, it's a marketplace, it's a mercado. So everything's made inside the stores. We have the tortilleria behind us. We make everything from scratch. Find a deli section with carnitas, chicharrón, guacamole, ceviches. We have a restaurant, a taqueria, where you can find authentic Mexican food. So that's what really separates us. Like, I think we make everything in stores.
And don't sleep on the smoothies and the juices. I can attest to this. Amazing. Now, last thing, how many locations do we got? How can we connect with you guys at La Bonita?
We have 7 stores valley-wide, an 8th store coming soon. You can find all the locations at bonitamarkets.com. Follow us on social and visit us soon.
All right, make sure you come get the Commissioner's Choice this week. We'll see you all season long here, La Bonita Supermarkets on the Fantasy GOAT.
You're watching the Fantasy GOAT, sponsored by La Bonita Supermarkets.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here on the Fantasy GOAT. Mike Davis here. Important stuff now. If you're interested and inspired about Jacksonville's wide receiver Brian Thomas last year and you really fell in love with him, well, this is for you. He exploded on the scene as a rookie, and depending on your league, he really earned himself a first or second round draft grade. Now, though, he's looking to be a total bust. 3 weeks in, he's failed to score over 10 points, and he hasn't caught more than 4 catches in a game. Hasn't even eclipsed 55 yards. So this week, he's set to go versus San Francisco. So Dr. Natwa, I want to know, if you have Brian Thomas Jr. in any of your leagues, is he sitting on your bench? Have you already moved him there, or are you still starting him?
I do have him in one of my leagues, and he's doing awful for me. It's very sad. But I am giving him one more week's shot, and then if he doesn't perform this week, then I'm just putting him on the bench. And I'm concerned that they mentioned that wrist injury before, and they didn't really give any background on it. They haven't really mentioned it since. But that could be the reason for a stark drop-off we saw with Tyreek Hill. when he was playing through that scapholunate injury, which is a possible differential. And then there's also something called the TFCC, which is basically a cushion in the side of your wrist that could also be injured and cause some grip issues. Two other things that could be that are non-injury related, though, is Shane Waldron's over there. And then aside from that, I think BTJ had a personal loss earlier this season. So not really sure, but I'm thinking about the wrist right now.
Right. There's a lot of things going on. Yeah, Shane Waldron, that's never a name you want to hear in football. But yeah, it's a scary place to be. I have him in 2 leagues personally, Sean, and I even have a lot of Travis Hunter. I got sucked in. I'm sorry. I don't know what to say. What's going on here? How much Brian Thomas do you have, Sean? And should we be done with him? Do you give him another week like Dr. Natwa? I started him this week again in my leagues. What are you doing where you have Brian Thomas?
I'm with both of you. I'm with the doctor and with you, Mike. I'm still giving him a chance. I'm not willing to say that he's a bust yet. He certainly has been the most underwhelming first-round draft pick in the most drafts this year. In the injury thing that they came out with, to the doctor's point, that was very surprising, and I think that has a lot to do with the drops. I also think I've seen that the new offense they've installed has been out of sync. But to call him a bust yet, I'm not doing it. I am starting him still this week after that really impressive rookie campaign he had last year. So not a bust yet on Brian Thomas for me. I am starting them this week. The numbers have been there. He's been averaging 8 to 9 targets a game.
Yeah.
If the drops are concerning, the doctor just gave us a good medical reason why, and that offense has looked out of sync. So I'm giving the faith that this week Lawrence and him are going to get it figured out, and he's going to have better numbers going forward. And so I'm not willing to give him a bust yet, but ask me next week and I may have a different opinion.
It's crazy because, Jason, I mean, this year a lot of people were high after them trading up in Jacksonville to get Travis Hunter, playing both sides of the ball. People are hot on Trevor Lawrence. People are high on Brian Thomas. So where are you at with all this stuff?
It's funny. I'm looking. I pulled up the Dr. Feinberg Invitational, which is kind of a sister league to Full-Time Fantasy. We use the app and draft with them, Sean. So I'm going to lay it on the line. You guys might have to talk me off the cliff because I don't have as much patience as you guys. I have McCaffrey, who, of course, I'd start. I like Hampton. I'm going to start him. Ricky Pearsall, Courtland Sutton. I have 1 spot left. Brian Thomas Jr., or Jaylen Warren.
Wow.
And I have Jaylen Warren in. He's been getting the ball a lot. So I don't know. They have him pretty much ranked close together. Maybe I do bench him.
Yeah, the worst thing in fantasy football as a fantasy football manager is you give up on him a week early.
I know.
And then he explodes, and then you really don't like yourself. So, I think I'm going to hold on a little bit longer, but I'm starting to get super frustrated. Yeah. Anyway, guys, this is exciting because it might be the year for Dalton Kincaid. I've been high on this guy since he was drafted, a local guy from Vegas. Are we finally there, though, with Dalton Kincaid? Has he arrived? We're going to see what everyone says after these words.
You're watching the Fantasy Go, sponsored by La Bonita Supermarkets.
All right, welcome back to the Fantasy GOAT. It might have been a year or two early, or I should say I have been a year or two early on this one. I thought Buffalo tight end Dalton Kincaid would explode immediately as a rookie, but 2 years later, we're finally starting to see that talent consistently appear out on the screen and on the field. Now, Sean, do you think Dalton Kincaid is Josh Allen's favorite target? Is it trending that direction? Is he the best pass catcher you can have when it comes to Buffalo?
I'm not going to go there. I think they're the AFC version of the Packers. You never know which week is going to be. Is it going to be, Khalil Shakir? Is it going to be Coleman? Is it going to be Kincaid? But I will say this is the best start Kincaid's had to any year. He's currently sitting at tight end 5, so I'm starting him. I'm not willing to put him in a set it and forget it with Bowers and McBride, but I am saying yes, this could be his year to break out. The numbers show it. Where I am concerned is the opportunities. He has had only a 56% target share on dropbacks, but with that 56% in limited usage, he has been very efficient with his catches. So as long as he keeps up being efficient with his opportunities, he's going to finish as a back end tight end one for me this year going forward.
Yeah, I always like when the tight ends are finding the end zone. I think that's a good indicator of success for the season. But Dr. Natwa, we've seen, Dawson Knox competing with him for catches and all that kind of stuff. So in Buffalo, are you high on Dalton Kincaid? Has he finally proven to be that first-round draft pick that we all wished and hoped he would be?
Yeah, he's been doing great. And like was previously said, unless you have one of those top 3 tight ends, of which one of them is out and the other one is injured, I'd probably be setting and forgetting it with Kincaid. And I do think, just touching on Bowers, that he's a great kind of trade if you can get the owner to sell a little bit lower on him if they're 1-2 or 0-3. I think that he's just going through a temporary route while he recovers from PCL and should be good to go within about 2 weeks.
Oh, okay. All right. So you think Bowers will get back to full speed very soon. Jason, what's your tight end situation like in a lot of leagues? Do you have any Dalton Kincaid?
No, I don't have any Dalton Kincaid because we all go through this. There's a play in the red zone, right? You see a big guy, but it's televised, so you're not exactly sure who caught the ball until, they flash it on the screen. You see the 8, you're like, yes, yes, and then it's Dawson Knox. And that happened too many times last season. So I stayed away from Kincaid. I'm kicking myself now. I got a few other veterans. Mark Andrews, he had a good game last game. Njoku's finally coming through. I have Kelsey. I'm still riding him. I feel like he's going to get there. So I do like the veterans, but I don't necessarily have Kincaid, who I know he's a newer player, but I do still feel he's a veteran.
Hey, it's part of fantasy football. You never know what's going to happen in that tight end slot, but you do know what's going to happen here. We're going to have an amazing panel. I want to thank all the way in Chicago, Dr. Nithin Natwa. Make sure you always follow him on social media at Fantasy Docs. He's got up-to-the-minute advice, all the great stuff. Sean Cruzen with Sports Illustrated and Full-Time Fantasy, and Jason Feinberg. For everybody else, Jess, James, I'm Mike Davis. We'll see you next time. Good luck in Week 4.